Hey viewers and viewresses, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to Sir You're Being Hunted. This is episode 265 now. I nearly said 256 then, which I think would be slightly a bit too low. But we're back, of course, once again in this game. This is just going to be another kind of podcast style episode. Just because I need some, I just need a little episode just to fill a gap in the meantime, because me and Phil are actually planning on having a recording session. We're going to do another episode of Sir together for the next one, episode 266. So you got that to look forward to, everybody. But like I say, in the meantime, it just means that I need another episode just to fill out the schedule a little bit. So once again, as I said, this is just going to be one of those kind of podcast style episodes that I often like to do, where I just wander around. I don't really do anything, I just talk about various stuff, and in the meantime just sort of play So You're Being Hunted in the background. Robots over there coming to say hi, nice stuff. They're interested to see what I've got to talk about this time round. Well, I think we'll just get straight into today's topic of conversation, everybody. So thing is, those of you who've been around on my channel for a long time, who religiously watch my various videos, you'll probably be aware that I am a bit of an anime fan. And you know what? I've done various episodes on Sir before, where I've just talked about animes that I've watched, whether that's Girls on Panzer, Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet I once talked about. I'm pretty sure I also once talked about Sword Art Online. In fact, actually, I think I did a couple of episodes one time where I talked about Sword Art Online. I did an initial episode, that is. Then a couple of episodes later I went back to that topic for some reason. Pretty sure I also talked about Ruby before. There's been a series which I've watched. Incidentally, where am I up to with Ruby? Because the thing is, which volume was it? It was volume 5. Those of you who have checked out my propagandist channel, where I do a lot of anime content, you'll know I did a reaction, a kind of let's watch to various episodes, well, not various, but to the entirety of Ruby Volume 5. I still need to get around to watching Ruby Volume 6, though, just yet. But I've been hearing, I'll admit, I've been hearing slightly, I don't know how to describe it. I've not been hearing brilliant things about Ruby Volume 6. I've been hearing some people saying that apparently it's not very good, and that there are just some weird twists and things in it which don't quite make a lot of sense, things like that. But I'll have to check it out at some point, and I'll have to check it out soon as well, because the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Volume 7 is friggin' airing by this point. Yeah, but on the subject of anime, that's it's not Ruby that I actually wanted to talk about in this episode. What I actually wanted to talk about was a series that I've actually watched recently. So, in the last couple of weeks, as of the moment I record this, I have had the absolute pleasure of watching the first season of an anime called Food Wars. Now, if you're fairly kind of knowledgeable in the whole anime scene, if you know anything about that series, you know automatically what's up with that one. But let's just say, it's one of those shows, I think, where, having watched the full season, let's just say it's one of those shows where I think you could take pretty much any scene from that show, and if you were to kind of just clip it and isolate it and show it to somebody who was not familiar with anime at all and was definitely not familiar with Food Wars, it would end up with a very kind of what the fuck sort of moment. Let's put it that way. They would stand there and they would think, what the hell are you showing me? Because, my God, almost every scene in Food Wars is friggin' just out of context gold. Because the basic storyline of Food Wars is it follows the main character, Soma Yukihira, who is a high school student, as you'd expect. Main characters in animes tend to be around about that age most of the time. And of course, it's very much a kind of school environment, which is the main setting of the show. But the gimmick with it is that Soma Yukihira is the son of a guy who run, and together. I'm fumbling the explanation completely. So Soma Yukihira and his father are chefs. They run their own little family diner. I think it's in Tokyo, isn't it? I mean, the area it's in is the name of it is given as Sumire Don or something like that, which I'm assuming is in Tokyo, if I'm remembering this correctly. But Soma gets enrolled at a prestigious culinary school, and well, he goes there and he meets all kinds of crazy people, and it's mainly about the sort of challenges that he faces. But the show really emphasises food, and there's a lot of tracking scenes just dedicated to food. And some of it looks pretty good, even if it is kind of animated food. But then again, anime food always typically looks delicious, even though it's not, not real. You see a bowl of ramen in an anime, it looks fucking sweet. You just want to, stick your face in that bowl, pretty much. But Food Wars is like that. Plenty of really good food shots. But what Food Wars is also, I should say, kind of, how to say, almost infamous for, is the crazy fan service that starts to happen whenever a character consumes a food dish made by Soma, by the main character, that is. And my goodness, yeah, it's quite something, let's put it that way. I'll probably clip a couple of instances and actually put them in the video round about now. So, I mean, two that particularly stand out to me. First of all, there's one pretty much in the first episode involving, let's say, a schoolgirl and and some cooked squid. Let's put it that way. So there's that one. And then another one which I remember, I think might be from the second episode, I think, where Soma is doing the transfer kind of exam thing for this school, this culinary school that he's trying to get into. And this one's an interesting one because it involves a high school girl and lots of interesting bees, quote unquote. Just let the clip play for itself and speak for itself, basically. 'But yeah, Food Wars. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. By all means, it was a very enjoyable series to watch. Just very what the fuck, essentially, in some scenes. But yeah, so if you're ever looking for something that you want to watch, everybody, go check out Food Wars. I heard though that there is a second season of it. That's the only thing. So I need to kind of get my hands on that and actually watch that. But yeah, should be good. And apparently there is, I think, a third season. I don't know if that's out or if it's in the works, but goodness, there's plenty of Food Wars related goodness for me to be digging my teeth into, so to speak. And I'll definitely need to take a look. But it's a good anime. It's got a lot of interesting stuff. It's got the fan service, it's got the cute girls, and the interesting characters. Let's put it that way. Because I think for many people, anime, cute girls is what you look for. That's one of the things that probably attracts you to a lot of anime. Well, certainly for people like me as a kind of heterosexual male. But how very shallow of me. You come for the fan service and the girls, stay for the plot. But I guess that's the case actually with a lot of anime, to be honest. But my goodness. Whew. Yeah, Food Wars, everyone. That's the main topic of conversation dealt with out of the way, and now I don't know what to talk about. How utterly terrible. Did I just get... Oh no, technically, yeah, there's 5 device pieces in there on the Centre Island. I forget, yes. There's 2 more technically, but not that we're really caring about that. This is just a one-off little podcast-style episode. Actually, I know something else I could, probably talk about here. I was actually watching some interesting videos on YouTube recently, on a, vaguely Japan-related topic. For the first time, I just saw the Long Long Man commercials. Don't know if you guys out there watching have ever heard of these. Go and search for them and, and watch them. they're probably all here on YouTube, ladies and gents. But one word of advice: I think you have to find the oldest, or rather the one that first aired, and then watch them in order of their aired. Because the thing is, right, the Long Long Man commercials, I'll explain what they're about. So, I don't know if you guys out there, whichever country you're in, you probably have a type of sweet or candy, which is like a big long gummy strip, a strip of kind of fruity flavoured or whatever flavour it is gum. I can't. We have them. We have a version of a version of them over here in the UK, but I've completely forgotten what the name of them is. But essentially, they're kind of like long gummy strips. Usually, they come in like rolls up, and you peel them off the paper, and you eat them, and they're really nice and tasty. But I'm sure various countries out there have their own versions of this, and Japan, they have their own version of this. I can't remember what it's called though. It's a Sakura gummy or something like that, and that's what the adverts, Long Long Man adverts, are actually for. And and it's hilarious because there's about, I think, 10 or 11 different commercials, and when you watch them all in the correct order, there's kind of a plot, an overarching plot line going on in them, which is kind of crazy, because I don't think I've ever seen a series of commercials where there's an actual plot going on between them, anything like that. But these Long Long Man commercials are hilarious. They're also hilarious because of the amount of innuendo that's going on in them. Seriously, if you watch them, you'll know what I mean. Talking about how long the gummy is. I just want to touch it, and things like this. But my God, and the plot twist in the final advert, fantastic. Never thought I'd talk about what essentially is a series of TV adverts in such glowing terminology, but my goodness. So yeah, check them out on YouTube, everyone. They're probably available. You can probably just search for Long Long Man commercials. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if someone out there actually has made a compilation of all of them in the order that you're supposed to watch them. So essentially, the plotline is there are three main characters. There's Chi-chan, who is a young woman. Her boyfriend, I think, is Toru-san. And then there's the Long Long Man himself. So it starts off with Chi-chan and Toru-san sat in a park or wherever it is, and Toru-san has this tiny little kind of gummy that he's just peeling off the paper. It's only a little one, and Chi-chan's watching him, and at that moment, Chi-chan basically sees another man, a sort of the mysterious Long Long Man, standing in the park, and he has a proper long gummy, and it sort of starts from there. And it's like over the course of the adverts, you have this ridiculous clandestine romantic interest going on, whereas Chi-chan keeps seeing the Long Long Man in various places. It's ridiculous how it's accompanied by just sort of how should I say, very lusty jazz in the background whenever she sees him. And, God, the thrills and turns. It's like, Chi-chan and the Long Long Man start embarking on an affair, things like this. And then ultimately there's this massive plot twist in the final advert. It's incredible. And I never thought, I would say such a drama in a series of TV commercials. But, I don't think we really have anything like that over here in the UK, at least nothing that I'm aware of. In terms of memorable adverts, memorable British TV adverts, the only ones I can really think of were the old Cadbury Dairy Milk adverts from years and years back. I think some of you might know which ones I'm talking about here. There was like a gorilla on a drum set. There was that one beating along in time to a rock tune or whatever it was. But Cadbury Dairy Milk, they did another couple of adverts around about the same time, which were also quite memorable. Basically, they were memorable because as adverts they had nothing to do with chocolate, but everyone remembers them because of what actually happened in the advert. So there's the one with the gorilla on the drum set. Then I think there was another one where it was two young children in school uniforms sat for like a school photograph, something like that, and then suddenly music comes on, they start doing all this weird stuff with their eyebrows. I can't quite remember that one, but there was a third one that I remember. It was a village in Africa, I think, and they're all the local people. And there was like, have you ever seen those kind of African Have you ever seen African art, basically, everyone? Have you ever seen kind of African masks or African sort of heads, with all the decorative colours and the sort of very exaggerated shapes and things like that? Basically, it was like a giant head like that, floating down through the middle of all the houses in this African village, and all the locals are out sort of partying and dancing around it. I just remember it being full of people just pulling weird faces, and then the big sort of floating head would pull the faces as well. I mean, this is a weird description that I'm giving, and if you were to clip moments from this video where I'm just yammering on about these things, and these would be very out of context, and people would think, "What the fuck is he talking about?" But yeah, those are the only real adverts I think that I can really remember as being particularly memorable here in the UK. I feel like here in the UK, TV and radio advertising tends to be pretty boring and just straightforward, or sometimes just to make very jokes and kind of comedic setups which are not actually that funny. They kind of feel a bit weak and fall a bit flat. But yeah, maybe that's just me. I don't know. But yeah, those old Cadbury Dairy Milk adverts certainly are quite memorable. Let's put it that way. Oh boy, how did I go from talking about Food Wars to talking about frigging Cadbury Dairy Milk adverts from years and years ago? It's because there was a connection of Food Wars, Japanese anime. From Japanese anime, I went to Japanese TV adverts, long man. From TV adverts, I went to Cadbury's Dairy Milk. See, an understandable game of Chinese whispers right there, but yes, I need to be careful not to alert these robots to my presence. I wonder if they're fans of the dairy milk adverts from years and years ago. Hello, Rabbit. How are you doing? It's always kind of weird when you see them running towards you out of the long grass in such a manner. There are the robots. There they are. They're off. I could have sworn there were 3 of them before, but I only see 2 of them now. Okay, there we go. Nice. So yes, if I had to conclude from the main topics of conversation in this particular episode of Sir You Being Hunted, is that you should all go watch Food Wars. You should all go into YouTube and check out the Long Man commercials. Fantastic stuff. But Japan incidentally is one of those countries which, when you think of TV from there, immediately it's going to be zany, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be very wacky. And you know what? We absolutely love it. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, I know that there are entire compilations out here on YouTube of just crazy, weird Japanese TV commercials, and some of them are amazing. I hear, in fact, I think, what's the company called? Is it, I don't know what it's called now. There's a company in Japan. It's a food company. It manufactures foods, and typically it manufactures kind of cup noodle, sort of convenience meals. You know what I mean? Basically, noodles in a cup, which basically you just put hot water on them, let them stand for a few minutes, and then you just dig in with a fork, maybe put some sauce on them or whatever. Kind of the Japanese equivalent, basically, of pot noodle, more or less. And there's this company that makes these, and it makes adverts for these cup noodle products that it does, and all of their adverts are apparently incredibly unique. Some of them are just crazy, some of them are really memorable, and I think to myself, we in the UK, we just don't really do TV advertising like the Japanese do we? We don't at all. But that could be an interesting topic of conversation actually down below, couldn't it? You guys out there watching, have you because obviously I have quite an international viewership. I have a lot of people in the States. I have a few, watchers from places like Australia, New Zealand, Germany, parts of Europe, places like that. As well as obviously a few viewers here in the UK. Can you think of any kind of weirdly memorable TV adverts, especially ones which, as you watched them, you thought to yourself, what product is this possibly selling, or what service, or whatever? And then when it comes up at the end, you think, there is no way I would have guessed that is what this advert is trying to sell. That kind of advert. Let me know in the comments below. Any adverts like that from your country, where you come from. Maybe they're available on YouTube to actually watch. Yes. Okay, well, tell you what, I've been recording there for about 10 to 15 minutes. I think that'll do it for you know, a nice little quick sort of filler podcast style episode for this series. So hope you enjoyed that, everybody. No, I certainly did. Not least because I'm talking about Food Wars. And, you know, I'll probably, like I say, I'll probably have inserted a couple of clips from there just to illustrate how what the fuck it can actually get. But yes, so check that out if you're interested, and let me know in the comments about TV adverts from your country that are particularly memorable. But other than that, thank you everyone. If you're not doing so already, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, links even, down below, along with a link to my aforementioned propagandist channel if you're interested in checking that out. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, do share this video with your friends on social media, and if you're not doing so already, why not subscribe to my channel? But in the meantime, I'm signing off now, and hoping you will join me for episode 266, because of course I'm going to be joined by Phil for that, hopefully. Goodbye, everybody. Go! God, stop it! Yeah. Oh lord, no. Holy crap, this area's horrible. Oh my god, I'm being shot to fucking pieces! Ah! Oh my, what the fuck? Holy shit. Holy fucking shit! Okay, this is going to be a nasty area. I can tell from the get-go. Right. Okay. Give me fucking rifle. No, you don't. This is a bad weapon. Oh my god, he's taking my health right down. Okay, get that out. Maybe we should use this for sniping.